You're listening to the Overwatch Rundown, a weekly podcast covering the latest in the esports scene of competitive Overwatch. Today is Monday, May 14th, and we are covering the end of Contenders Season 1 and preview of Overwatch League Stage 4.
I think I'll start us off this week, Lepalose, because I have a rather simple question for you. Overwatch League Stage 4 starts in 1 day and 19 hours from now. We'll have the Los Angeles Gladiators versus the San Francisco Shock in the first game of Stage 4. So, with this game getting ready to start in under 48 hours, I'm going to ask you right now, what patch are they playing on?
Jax, listen, I've heard various confirmations from various people. It sounds like they're playing on the new patch, according to a couple of named sources on Twitch. But am I certain about that? I'm not, Jax. I'm really not certain, because you know what? There's been no official statement from, say, a league commissioner or organizers about what we're walking into in Stage 4. I know what we are walking into, Jackson. That is going to be Brigitte. We're going to be walking into a lot of her.
Baguette. It's called She's called Baguette, Lepalose.
Well,
and I tweeted. Yeah, no, you go ahead.
If I can just at least get one more shot in here based on that Baguette reference. I mean, you know, you might say it's a bit cheesy, but there's definitely going to be a lot of wine coming as well.
Oh, Lepalose, what am I going to do with you? However, I tweeted. I'm going back here to make sure. I get the day right, and of course I can't even find my own tweet. That's how much I don't use Twitter. But on May 9th, and today is the 14th, on May 9th I tweeted at Nate Nanzer, commissioner for the Overwatch League. We're a week out from the start of Stage 4. Can the community get positive confirmation on which patch will be played? No response. Not that I expect one, but the fact that we're citing Twitch sources, Lepalose, as to what patch we're going to be playing, leads us to the start of today's episode, which is In Blizzard We Trust, part. What number did we settle on?
We're settling on 6, Jax, because because we can retcon that right into our podcast.
For those who are not aware, Lepalose, and I don't even know if we've ever really fully explained In Blizzard We Trust. But it's, in our opening, in our intro or our discussion phase, we talk about something that it pertains to Blizzard, because they're the ones that run the Overwatch League. They're the ones that run the game, and as consumers, we are forced to trust in them, trust in their ideas and their plans, in the hopes that they're not going to screw us. So when we say In Blizzard We Trust, that's it's the only option that we have. So right now, Lepalose, how would you? What level of faith do you have in Blizzard?
Yeah, listen. If I was asked right now to do a trust fall into Blizzard's arms, I would not take that trust fall right now. I'd explain in that terms. But in all honesty, Jax, it's a pretty poor situation we have right now. We have a league that has good oversight, that has communication with the developers that are making the patches, and they know what's up and coming, they know what's out, and they also have control of the teams largely, right? Like, they're closely contacted with the owners and the management of these teams. They're all one big family, Jax. They are. Like, listen, I know there's arguments within family, and there are certainly arguments going on here about the patches that they're going to play. But the problem I have is these problems need to have been worked out early enough in advance that everyone sort of comes together and says, well, at least we know what we're doing 2 weeks from now once we're done these playoffs, right? Like, we should have known at the end of the finals, being like, guys, that's it from Stage 3. We'll see you with Brigitte and the new Hanzo in Stage 4, right? Like, that should have been on the plan back then.
Listened to, or I watched a little bit of an interview that the Florida Mayhem assistant coach, gave. I think it was either yesterday. It was put up on YouTube today.
Yeah.
And he talked about them not knowing what patch is going to be played on. He talked about how teams that have already been practicing, it could have all been for naught, Lepalose, because It could be a completely different patch. This stage, or this break between stages 3 and 4, from what we're seeing on social media, a number of teams have taken it off. And by when I say taken it off, I mean, you know, I think the Fusion went to Philadelphia. I know the Fuel and wait, did the Outlaws go to Texas? I don't know, but I know the Fuel did. And so this has been an off stage. So not many teams were actually practicing, but for those who did, he was saying that you know the advantage that they might have gotten from preparing early will disappear. I think he hinted that take the Boston Uprising, right? Their first game is on Thursday against the Philadelphia Fusion, and he says don't be surprised if they just come out and play dive again. Well, one, their dive is pretty good, and two, what else can you do, Lepalose? And for me, I think it's a problem because stage 3 I feel was the best stage we've had so far. Like the lead, like stage 1, I talked about my own fatigue and I had concerns. Stage 2, okay, it got a little bit better, and not just because my gladiators picked up the best and most handsomest tank in the world, but the league in the games that overall, I think a lot of that had to do with the map pool got better. And in stage 3, I really enjoyed stage 3. There were a number, like every week we had games to watch. We had the playoffs with their expanded stage playoff bracket where 4 teams made it, right? It made things more interesting
Yeah,
because you had more
definitely.
teams vying for it. And the level of competition rose across the board. We had the story of the Boston Uprising going undefeated throughout the regular stage, right? We had New York, were they coasting? Are they throwing by running these various substitutions that they have, or are they just being New York and being that damn good that it doesn't really matter? We didn't know what were we going to see out of the Seoul Dynasty and London Spitfire. So stage 3, fantastic stage, and I'm saying okay, at this point, at the end of stage 3, at the end of that playoffs, not the greatest, but an okay series between Boston and New York. And I'm saying they're gonna ride that momentum, Leplos. We're gonna ride the momentum from stage 3 into stage 4 into the end of season 1 playoffs, and they'll cap off a successful season 1 of the Overwatch League. Except now, here we are, less than 2 days away, and I don't even know what game is going to be played. And I say I don't know when I say I know they're playing Overwatch, but I don't know what kind of Overwatch. Is it gonna be Baguette with Hanzo? Is it gonna be? We don't know,
The
and it's
problem is
ridiculous.
we can't. You know what? To maybe distill that even further, it's not that we don't know what's happening. It's that we don't know what balance. So we can't even theorize about which compositions are going to be strong, right? Because
I mean,
if we're looking at life patch right now, obviously we're going to be saying like Hanzo's really strong. But now we're, instead of talking about what compositions might be strong, we have to be talking about which patch are they playing, and that's a
Levels
horrible place to play
in the
to
con
do
in the
this discussion
context
on.
in the context of our own show, the Overwatch Rundown.
Yeah.
The most of this show, we have some contender stuff, but it was gonna be a preview, or not going to be. It is a preview of stage 4, and
Yeah.
like we did with stage 3, we would sit down, we would look at all the teams, we would come up with our predictions for where we think they'll end up. Except, how can I predict when I don't know what patch they're going to play? Because it matters, right? If there's new Hanzo and there's not, or old Hanzo, well, that makes things interesting. Are we getting, even though it's not even on live yet, right? Are we going to get Baguette with 150 rally or 100 rally? I mean,
Yeah, we don't even know. We
we
don't
don't know,
don't
and
know
it's
about
it,
any of
it's
these details.
driving me crazy because
Maybe Jax. Maybe they'll say this is all too complex. We're just going to keep on with the stage 3. We did
they
well.
levels
We
they're
had
not about to do
we
it.
had
But
good numbers in stage 3, Jax.
but then let me ask you something. Then what's more important for Blizzard? The game that you and I and millions of people play, or the Overwatch League with these 12 teams? Which do you think is more important to Blizzard? Because the thing that I find interesting is before the community at large started throwing a fit, and a rightful fit, they were going to play stage 4 on a patch that we saw on the live server for 2 days.
Yeah.
2 days, Leplos. That's how long we had to play that before they came out with something new and different. Because, well, that okay.
Yeah, the community was pretty upset, and as you said, rightfully so. I think even
So
if
what's
they
more
came out
important?
on that, even if they came out on that patch, I don't say that balance is any better, anyways, Jax. Like, listen, you know what? Like Hanzo strong right now, absolutely. But you know who else has been strong the whole time? Tracer. We've talked about this. It's hilarious watching people say like, "Oh, Tracer's no longer viable. The game's broken." Like, I am sorry that the one hero that you feel is quote unquote the most balanced because it has a bit of everything and it is sort of self. It's independent. It's an independent character.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you feel that character is no longer getting into almost 100% of the professional level games, right? Like, I agree.
That's one of the reasons why I was looking forward to this, because as of right now, teams that had a good tracer, they were set. And I take you back to the end of stage 3, Lepalose, and the two teams that were in the finals, and are the best in that stage overall, Boston and New York. And what do those two teams have? They had the two best tracers in the league.
Yeah, and it's
no surprise.
I don't mind a a defining character like that. I do. We've talked about it. Tracer OP. Yeah. Yes, that's what my belief is. I believe you feel the same way.
We're not even Coach Kai Kai. He agrees.
Even Coach Kai Kai. I gotta respect him for that. But what I don't like is when we have this uncertainty about compositions. But also, Jax, for me, not only does this whole thing ask or has a lot of questions involved with this stage, I'm left wondering the future, right? Now, not seasons. How about the the finals, Jax, the playoffs, the finals? Are we going to have these issues entering into the finals in the playoffs, like the overall season playoffs? Because just imagine and break this down. Have they thought about this? I know we've mentioned it briefly, but now we've had Tracer-dominated meta for 3 stages. And if it goes to the live patch, then we have a Hanzo for 1 stage, and then we move into the playoffs. And are you going to tell me that we're going to play only on the 1 patch that's out by the playoff? Is it going to be a new patch that you didn't even play stage 4 on? Or what are you going to do? Are you going to like mix them up? I suspect
levels in the time between now, the playoffs start 3 weeks after the end of stage 4, so that we're talking like 8-9 weeks from now, 2 months from now, is when we'll get to the playoffs. And I'm to tell you right now, this Hanzo cannot last for 2 months on the live servers.
I agree with you,
it's
but
ridiculous. Like, did you look at the clip I posted? For those who know, join our Discord. We talk about Overwatch all the time. I posted a clip of Raxu, who pulled up the top 10 came out. The top 500 came out for season 10, and he's looking at it, and the number of Hanzo's levels in the first top 25. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's just the same amount of tracers we used to see, Jax. I would have to double check that. But
I think there's a little bit. I think there's a little more variety, but it's Hanzo. It's some baguette. It's just. The thing is, going back to your point about what are we going to see for the playoffs going forward, and it's also kind of why I kind of asked you, what's more important to Blizzard, the game with its millions of players, or the Overwatch League with its currently $240 million buy-in Lepalose, okay? Because Blizzard, they have the ability to sync it up. Now, Monty will say, and he did say on Twitter, that it's unrealistic of the fans to expect the pros to play on the live patch. I agree. And when I say I agree, is that they can't, once a stage starts, they can't, switch to the live patch every time there is one. Unless it's a hot fix, right? Unless something is broken, then they can fix that. However, in between stages like we have now, I fully expect them to play on the current patch. I do. Yep. And this is up to Blizzard and all the departments of Blizzard, whether it's game development or Overwatch League. This is your game, your brand that you have sunk hundreds of millions of dollars into. Get it right. And right now, they're not getting it right. And they're honestly coming off as a bit of a joke that they've been exceeding expectations, right? Everybody's talking about how they're exceeding expectations. And then now, here we are, where things should be getting better. And we're like, you're actually making mistakes that should have been made in stage 1. We're now in stage 4.
And it's like just simple decision-making things, Jackson. When I say simple, I mean, obviously you have, like, somebody had to put their foot down way back when. And maybe they did. Maybe this is a conversation they had way back before the end of stage 3, and then now they're just rolling back on what they decided because it was a wrong decision. And if they're doing that, like, I applaud them for getting around to making that wrong decision. But here's the fact: I can't even say that because I do not know what we're going to have. Right? I suspected it was going to be the 2-day patch, which is why Monte tried to defend the family. You know.
Think about that, man. I'm sorry. Think about that. Why would they play a stage which is 5 weeks long on a patch that was on the live server for 2 days?
And what does it say about their current patch, and why haven't they fixed some of the issues that are on it if it is such a clear issue that there's hesitance to move to it? Lots of questions there about balance, Jax. I would like to say
give me the answers, Lepalose. Get Nate on the line. You know what? You know where I saw Nate, Lepalose? He's over there in Korea with the big boss man Pine at the Contenders Korea final. Yeah. He's chilling over there.
Yeah, he's chilling over there.
Barbecue. He's at a soju. He's chilling, Lepalose.
You know where he was not, though? He was not at the EU Contenders
Lepalose, but final. You know what he was doing? He was making executive decisions that banned or did not allow Fusion University to wear their FU jersey. This was all reported.
Listen.
He's got time to come down on that issue, Lepalose.
They said it was a bureaucratic issue. You didn't apply ahead of the.
And
you did not
story
apply.
Comes out, and of course it's a little bit deeper than that. But you know, it always is.
I'm surprised, Jax, that they allowed them to come out in any shirts at all, and we just didn't go shirts versus skins on the NA
the thing
finals.
That kind of surprises me, and I'm a little disappointed by, is where's the outrage? Where is the sports? Where's the journalism on this issue right now, Lepalose?
I mean, it's all in the family. I mean, it's all in the family.
Where's Slasher with the sources? Not some tweet where he's stating his opinion, where he's got insight that actually matters. Where is Thorn, right? Where is his podcast, Lepalose?
This does seem like a Thorn issue, let's be honest.
Does all this talking. Where's Richard Lewis, okay? Where's Jacob Wolf? Where come on, dude.
You have to come to the independent journalists like ourselves, Jax, who make even less money than all of them do, with a big fat zero, because we keep it real here.
Packet loss rising, Lepalose, which should tell you how low budget our operation is. Doesn't make us any less important, just low budget.
Low budget, so much so that even the squirrels are chewing through your wires these days.
Man, listen, when the Spectrum guy told me that, I'm like, what? I don't see squirrels in my yard, man.
But Jax, if we want to talk nuts, we have to talk this decision about the FU jersey a little bit more, because it's absolutely silly to say, yeah, no, it was a bureaucratic decision. They didn't get it in time. We didn't like the first jersey. It was turned down because it probably just said FU, so they had to put FU University on it. Apparently, that's not good enough. The excuse we'll turn that into is you didn't make the deadline for that. Like, I'm sorry. That's being rather chintzy and rather, like, just overbearing in terms of trying to be like, we have to, I find it hilarious, though, their newest response to it.
The brand.
Well, not only the band from EU Contenders, which was a great move there by them. I think even better is now they're talking about coming out as FU with a small case unlike fun. Yeah, because really Blizzard's turning into a bit of an anti-fun.
Out of all the teams, when it comes to their social media presence and their individual team brand, the Philadelphia Fusion, they started out slow as hell. Like, we didn't even see them in the preseason because they didn't have their visas in place.
Yeah.
But once they did, Lepalose, they're on point. I'm liking what they're doing with their brand, right? They even got chef coach Heidi. You know, other team like the Glad, right? Surefour was on a stream where he came in and he's like, they asked him, what does he eat? Or what is he like? He's like, I like to eat whatever my chef makes. And it's like, where is the Gladiator chef? I see chef coach Heidi on, Overwatch League streams giving interviews, right? Like, everyone is getting in on this branding.
Absolutely.
And it's fantastic.
Not only that. I saw a Snillo and Deathmatch the other night with Crumbs. Crumbs was asking him question about what did you enjoy most about Philly? Immediate answer coming out of Snillo, the fans are the best, right? Like a number one.
He should have said the
media trainer right there.
I think they actually did go back to Philadelphia during this stage.
Yeah.
But I think it was that Saturday morning. I had some medical stuff to deal with, but I was looking at my screen. I was like, why are they wearing blank T-shirts? I'm like, the Fusion should have jerseys because I was not up to date on what happened. And then when I finally saw the jersey, I'm like, they get it. And when I say they get it, they know the demographic they're playing for. Lepos playing towards, trying to get that. FU is perfect. That was a beaut. I have nothing is wrong with that jersey, man.
And
It's
listen,
the tongue-in-cheek humor that Blizzard just roll with it. Dude.
Thorne has talked a little bit about the heavy-handedness of Blizzard trying to crack down on, or was it an article I read? Maybe I'm giving undue credit here. I am sorry. But you can hear Jax go ahead and have some packet loss right now. But let me just sort of wrap that one up there too, which is Jax, like, you have to be realistic. You can't come down like, listen, this might be construed as saying F you in the offensive way. It's like, of course it is. That's the double entendre of this, and it's not that bad.
User entered your channel.
Like, it's not that bad. But
instead, you want to talk bad. Bad would be my packet loss, man. Bad would be the timing that we have on this episode because we're 20 minutes in. We haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet.
Well, I mean, I guess we need to get that in right now before you disconnect like 3 or 4 times.
User in your channel timed out.
I am quite upset with Spectrum. I will probably begin shopping my my internet around because this is it's 2018. I live in a major metropolitan city. This is unacceptable.
Yeah, definitely.
But from there, Lepalose, I hate to just come in, and push us along, but we have no clock guy. We have our clock guy is gone, our backup clock guy is gone, and so you and I have to handle the clock. And the clock says we're going to Overwatch Contenders 2018 Season 1 North American Playoffs being played at LAN in Katowice.
Yeah, some interesting action coming out there too, and I believe it was semifinals and finals.
Yes.
Followed by a show match as well between the winners, because Jax, we've mentioned this. Thank goodness they brought them together and then had.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Blizzard is learning. They're doing things, and then I come to Overwatch League. I'm like, you suck, Blizzard.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. But Contenders, other than maybe this little hiccup with the jersey thing, let's go ahead talk about what happened between Toronto Esports and Envision Esports in the upper bracket. Started out going Toronto's way, 2-1 Nepal. Envision responds with a pretty long Nambani map, actually, with a 5-4 on their side. Draw then on Horizon Lunar Colony. Junkertown 3-2 for Toronto Esport. And then they close it out with a Oasis 2-0 to take the series 3-1. Now, I think that it was a bit of a closer series than the score initially lets on when you say it's a 3-1. That draw in there as well. The Junkertown also fairly close, and Nepal. Toronto Esports earning their way to a victory over the team that beat XL2 Academy, Jax. I think that's a pretty big.
This Toronto team came on strong in the second half of the regular season, and then even stronger in the playoffs. I like a number of players on this team. Cruz, I'm glad to see. Cruz left his team, Orglis in Hungary, in EU. He came to North America because let's be honest, that's where the opportunities are. He has a greater chance of advancing to the Overwatch League in North America than he does EU. I'm just being real, up close. That's just the way you get to scrim more with the Overwatch League teams because everyone's here, and that's that. But the main tank, Axiom, I love him. Fantastic play out of Axiom. Shu, the support player, he's growing on me. Dalton and Nero, I don't think either one of them can play in the Overwatch League for 2 years. I think they're 16, maybe one of them is 17. But nothing but upside for the Toronto for Toronto Esports here.
Yeah,
nothing but it.
On the other side of the bracket, we had Fusion University taking on Optic Academy, of course in their black only jerseys, I believe it was. Winning out pretty good here against Optic Academy, taking the 2-1 on Ilios, losing on Hollywood 3-2, but coming right back with wins on Horizon Lunar Colony 4-3, Dorado 3-2. Just like that, they earned their victory. To be honest, Jax, Fusion looked really dominant the entire season.
Fusion have never lost a game. They were pushed to 5 in a number of series, but they found a way to win. I think a couple of days ago, I think we talked at the end of our last episode, we talked about Arrow, their coach. He was poached, 3-4 days before this LAN even took place. So they're doing this without their head coach, who has led them this way. I have to say that in this semifinal here, Leplos, who are you popped off? Okay, And when I say he popped off, he popped way the hell off. Where I'm asking myself, why did the Seoul Dynasty let this guy go? He's playing that well.
Yeah, could you just imagine if they had him on Zenyatta instead of Guido?
You say that. I'm looking at Fusion University. You talk about Guido. Let's talk about Alarm, the support player, the Zen.
Alarm was definitely playing well throughout.
He's not Jonak, but he's better than some Zen's free feel that I have seen in the Overwatch League.
Yeah, no, I mean he's definitely performing pretty well. It'll be interesting to see his performance over. I don't know too much about him though, like his age right now. I think he could be brought in, but we'll have to see if a certain team needs him. Maybe Boston needs another support player. I don't know.
I saw a video today. Aim God.
Yeah.
They had his. They showed him arriving in the States and meeting up with the team at the Burbank studios. So they have their fifth support player going into what could be, we don't know, but what could be a triple support meta level. So having all those supports might pay off. Looking at Optic Academy though, a bit of a disappointment ending for them. I know Kaiser maintained for them in the regular season and I think in the first playoff game, but like so often visa issues, he's not there in Katowice, so they go with the backup tank Smurf, and it's just Fusion University was ready for it, Optic was not ready for it, and we're looking at a Toronto Esports and Fusion University finals.
Yeah, and grand finals, Jax, did not look like Toronto Esports were ready for Fusion University. Off the start, Ilios quickly 2-0. Hollywood, they get held completely on. It's a 1-0 there. Horizon Lunar Colony 2-1. And that one, maybe a bit of C9 at one point there, Jax. Junkertown 3-2 for Toronto Esports, at least getting one back on that one. Fusion University, though, closing off with a fairly competitive Oasis at a 2-1 scoreline. But winning the overall grand final for North American Contenders Season 1 with a 4-1
Lepalose
undefeated.
Undefeated throughout the entire season. I mean, some people will say, yeah, they got pushed to 5 in 4 or 5 of their series. I don't care. They won the game. They won the playoff game. They won the grand finals. There's not much I can say. The Fusion University, if you go back to before Contenders even started, we had a couple of those Tier 2 tournaments. I forget which ones they were, but Fusion was in every one of them at a time where they were the only academy team that we had seen. The other team that we saw a lot at that time was Envision. We saw Michael's team, Congarna. We saw, I forgot what the other team was. The guys that came over from Xbox. I forget what they're called.
Oh.
But
yeah, I don't remember
what I'm getting at is Fusion University put this team together and they came out hard and fast. Unlike what they did with their Overwatch League team, right? Where I talked about them being slow and late with the preseason. Fusion was here, Lepalose. They were getting those games in a competitive environment before Contenders even started. They were in finals, they were making money, they were getting experience and working together. I love what Fusion University has done for Season 1 Contenders. I'm looking forward to what they can do Season 2, because I think someone mentioned Blizzard wants 2 or 3 Contenders seasons each year. So before the next Overwatch League starts, we should have at least another Contender season, and I'm looking to see if they're ready to repeat.
Yeah, no, it's definitely great news. I think they're probably also getting a lot of practice, to be honest, with maybe their sister team, or their parent team, rather, that is in Fusion.
Yeah.
Fusion. I think that's incredibly smart for their organization overall. I haven't liked the teams that have not done that. And I think it sort of shows organizational weakness when they don't do that. Like, maybe they don't have the money. But listen, if they don't have the money, why do they have a Mayhem Academy team? Come on. That they've been the most thrifty team in the Overwatch League, in my opinion, from at least the front office standpoint.
There is a Mayhem Academy team, Lepalose.
That's what they have one. That's like, even they have one when they've been so thrifty on the front office and requiring the bus, for instance.
There was I don't have specifics. There were talk of, why am I so bad with names? The guy, oh my goodness, the guy who
for BAM?
No, the guy. I cannot believe you would know who. I can't even describe it, but it's the guy who always had his hand in everything, was always tweeting about it.
In Overwatch.
Lepalose, you would know. Gee,
Not what, like not the journalist, but
No, not the it's he was a general manager, and then he put together the C9 team.
Michael.
No, not Michael. Michael's a joke. Lepalose, come on! Oh my goodness.
Put together a C9
Take us to the next
Bishop?
one. When I give you the name, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, him. It's
right.
just you're not even, because you're not thinking about it. You would know, but we're going to EU finals while I look this up.
All
EU
right.
playoffs.
Yeah, EU playoffs. We had a British Hurricane.
Aloysius.
Okay, yeah. We had British Hurricane.
Is the guy. It's been
Laser
rumored that
and
he was
like
that he put together 4 or 5 of these academy teams and then handed them off. Like he was the one who put these teams together.
Yeah.
You know, and then said, okay, good. Florida, this is your team, this is your team, this is your team. But we're going to EU Contenders playoffs now.
Yeah, as also I was saying, British Hurricane taking on CIS Hope, and CIS Hope dies shortly after the first map. They take the first map 2-1. From there, it's all British Hurricane. 2-1 Hollywood, 4-2 Horizon Lunar Colony, and Dorado 2-1. CIS Hope, unfortunately, not making it out of the semifinals. British Hurricane looking pretty strong, Jax.
I didn't have any real faults with how they went about it. I mean, they lost the first map, and for me, I was surprised that they lost that map, and then they said, we're not messing around anymore. We don't, you know, we want this, we're taking it, and they got it.
Not dropping the map, but still pretty close matchup was down in the other bracket of the semifinals. Team Gigante taking on Angry Titans here, where Ilios 2-1, Bonnie 5-4, and Hanamura 4-3.
I think we're calling it Season 0, the previous Contender season, which Gigante won. That was the old Gigante level. Yeah, they lost how many players? They lost both supports. They lost Linkser. They lost Fraggy. And yet here they are dominating their semifinal and going into the grand final. Their regular season, a little bit iffy. But
let's not also forget they seem to be retaining that attitude of like maybe a tank heavy lineup going forward. So they still got some of that attitude carrying them here. But you're absolutely right. Like they lost, like obviously Zappas. Like I'm looking through, they lost in Team Gigante. Just look at their lineup here. They lost Davin. He's gone. Or sorry. Yeah, they had Davin. Okay, sorry, that's a mistake here. But Zappas has gone to Mayhem. Fraggy went to Fusion. Big Goose and Shaz, you know where those guys are at. They're Gladiators. And Linkser is on the Outlaws. They have had a history of success. So here they're getting another chance at it in the grand finals against
in your channel,
British Hurricane. Jax is DCing, which is okay. Listen, maybe there's a bit of a tempest over by his place again.
User entered your channel.
Squirrels ate through the remaining part of his wire, but you know he'll be back in and back out. But we are moving on into the grand finals here. Another best of 7 here in EU, and this one between the British Hurricane Team Gigante. I mentioned it right off the start. Starting to see some heavy tank lineups come out. In fact, both teams throughout the whole matchup had some including some 402 and.
But yeah, I was about to say you can't say heavy tank lineup and not talk about the 402 that Gigante came out with here.
Yeah, right on the Paul, I believe was Shrine on the very first map, and they break that on the other side actually on that one too. You had the 132 come out at 1.2, which is it's been a while since we talked about compositions like this, Jax. Like
because and again, it's you almost want to say what patch are they playing on, because. Off the top of my head, I don't know. Although when I look at the Overwatch GG site even says they're playing on patch 1.2. So this was the year of the dog patch, Lepalose, from February. This is what they're still playing on. We're now in May.
They must have trouble keeping track of all the versions that they're trying to play on. It's clearly very difficult for them. I can respect that, but. British Hurricane starting off pretty strong, though, bringing back that Nepal to a 2-1 victory on their side. Nimbani also going their way pretty strongly with some interesting defenses, I have to say. I'm not sure if you saw that, too, off the start for, I believe it was the Hurricane that tried the very aggressive defense the first time around. So, I like seeing different things, and it came out pretty strong here. Horizon Lunar Colony, though, brought back by Team Gigante. Very strong performance by them on Horizon Lunar Colony. Junkertown coming down to overtime last fight in order to have Gigante push it through. Oasis, though, that goes Hurricanes 2-0. Hollywood 3-1 Gigante. Back and forth affair, though, ending in British Hurricane as they take it on Dorado 2-1.
I have to say, Craggy needs to be picked up by an Overwatch League team.
He was definitely going off a number of times in the series.
Played very, very well in this finals here. I was really impressed by what he did. Kib, I won't say I wasn't impressed with Kib. I think Kib was solid. Like, he didn't stand out as much as Craggy, but he didn't let his team down. And for me, that's an improvement, because at times past, if he wasn't on Genji, Kib kind of disappeared on you, and you were wondering where in the world has Kib gone?
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case here. The team overall, this is just a solid team play. Yeah. Fusion's on tank, half a cool Lepalose. He's found a way to win.
He's on a LAN, so he's feeling more comfortable. I'm not a fanatic, but I can't say.
Well, okay, well done with that one, Lepalose. For those of you who aren't aware, Half a Cool, previously had statements about games not mattering at all if you're not on LAN and blah blah blah. That's Half a Cool for you. But fantastic win for British Hurricane, which is the academy team for the London Spitfire.
So at least they're winning something, Jax.
I mean, they won stage 1. They came runner-up stage 2, stage 3. They kind of
we don't want to talk about stage 3 with the Spitfire. But here, the Hurricane winning, that's good news for them. And as an organization, I mentioned it. I like seeing it. And interestingly, that sets up an Atlantic showdown between two academy teams of the Overwatch League. We had the British Hurricane from the EU side taking on Fusion University, from the North American side. And listen, you had to feel pretty good maybe about the FU going into it, to be honest. Like, you had some really good experience. You were pretty dominant in your region. The Hurricane were stressed a little bit.
I watched both semifinals. I watched both finals. And coming into this, it's not my American bias shining through. I expected Fusion University to win this. That's how well that they played. And then we get to the actual game, Lepalose,
and then things do not necessarily go how you expect it should. Let's go ahead and start talking about it. Starting on Ilios, Jax. That one starting off British Hurricane. First off, I should mention best of 5, not best of 7, just show match. But British Hurricane taking Ilios. It was a decently close one. I'm not going to say it's super close, but it was a 2-1 map on Ilios. Nimbani, not even close. It was a 3-0 on Nimbani, and they had a lot of time in the time bank as well. So you cannot be feeling good already if you're Fusion University. But you know what? You're on Horizon Lunar Colony. They managed to bring that one back 4-3 before British Hurricane able to close it on Junkertown with a 4-3 on that map. Did not look too good coming outside of the Fusion University. It looked like they struggled facing the heavy tank lineup. And Jax, we have to go back then into our discussion about why heavy tanks work in the first place, and then why dive came out of it. I feel like at this point we're talking about like a history lesson of the meta development of Overwatch, and this is largely going to be true of.
Whoa. Is your mic okay? Lepalose. Your mic's doing weird things. I'm hearing myself now. Your mic is on permanently, too. It's just a night of technical errors here.
All right,
Say
sorry
something?
about that one. Yeah, no, I think
Oh.
I'm coming through okay now, right?
Yeah.
All right, I apologize about that one.
Whoop. We're having a little popping. Nope, popping.
Oh, okay. Hopefully it's cleared up, Jax. I'm having a bit of a problem with a wire here, but apparently you're not the only one having a bit of issue. So again, I apologize here about the technical delays for both live and if you're watching this on YouTube. Do download us on the podcast while I'll have this edited out because we're both recording. So if I'm not wrong on that one, Jax, but are you good to go?
I never stop recording.
Perfect. Yeah,
So.
neither have I. And we were talking about the British Hurricane versus Fusion University. I'm going to back up, Jax.
User in your channel
And
timed out.
we are going to. What a night! What a night! But guys, we are
User
going to
entered
talk
your channel.
about British Hurricane versus Fusion University.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start this one over again, Jax, right from the top here, where British Hurricane taking Ilios off the start here, 2-1 against Fusion University. A good start for them. Fusion University already starting to struggle a little bit with the compositions coming out of the British Hurricane. Does not improve from there. Nimbani, great 3-0 by British Hurricane, including a lot of time left on the clock. Never mind the fact that they full held there. It was pretty disgusting how unbalanced that matchup was on Nimbani. Horizon Lunar Colony provided a little respite for Fusion University, taking that one 4-3, but Junkertown going 4-3 the side of British Hurricane to win the best of 5 series with a 3-1 scoreline. Important first win of the showdown between Atlantic Showdown, I believe that's what they're calling it, from British Hurricane. You got to feel good if you're in EU, Jax, because I think we were talking about it. You expected Fusion University. I expected University. ZP expected Fusion University to take it, and instead,
you can't. I expected it because of how well they played, and they couldn't handle 4 tanks. They couldn't handle 3 tanks. They can't. Their weakness is apparently a tank heavy lineup, which, if they had to play on the upcoming patch or on the current live patch, it makes me wonder how well they would do, because the British Hurricane just bullied them with their tanks and their supports, and Fusion could not hang. Like at one time, Fusion tried to go with triple and they tried to go with a quad of their own, and it was an absolute disaster. From one map to the next, Horizon went, in their way. Junkertown was a fun map to watch, just for all the Bastion antics. At one point, on first point, we had attacking Bastion and we had defending Bastion.
Yeah, which was definitely ridiculous to watch.
It was really good. I think one of the casters, I don't think it was ZP, I forget. Sorry, the name escapes me. The man who was casting alongside ZP, but he said, well, what does Fusion University do? They fall back to what they know. And what do they know? They fall back to dive. So you had British Hurricane playing, quad tank, triple tank. At times they went with a 2-2-2 when it was the best. But they ran a very tank heavy lineup. And Fusion couldn't deal with it. And the dive that they went to just wasn't it wasn't good enough. It wasn't strong enough to burst down. I mean,
and we talked about this though. I mean, we have to get into this, Jax, because like we have to mention why tank heavy lineups used to be good and are still good in certain situations, including the open division of the North American side, because we had a tank heavy lineup. I believe it was bye week I believe it was bye week that played heavy tank lineup. But heavy tank really works because for a lot of teams up until a certain level is because it sort of smooths over a little bit of your coordination. Like, it gives you a bit more buffer. And when you are a team that can coordinate well enough but don't have that final touch, that buffer is massive, and it provides you a massive opportunity in competitive.
One of the problems that I've had with Overwatch at times is tanks do too much damage. That's another reason why 402 is viable, because some of your tanks they're not tanks, they're DPS players. Roadhog is a DPS player. D.Va, I mean, she has some tank-like aspects, but she's a brawler, she's a bruiser, It's just here, Fusion, when I forget what map it was on, but they switched to the Genji Tracer, and I'm saying, who are they supposed to get at? Not the 4 tanks. I think the enemy team was running a Lucio who's going to boop you away and then speed away himself, and they had a Moira against him. So he's just going to fade and disappear. What are you going to, who is Genji Tracer supposed to dive at that point, Lepalose? You can't kill anything.
I mean, but we have seen it, because we've seen teams break tank with the triple DPS, and that is a counter, Jax.
That's a very coordinated triple DPS with Zen and the Discord focus and the dive focus with your Winston, and as good as Fusion University is on dive, and how much we talked about how they're solid DPS and Alarm on the Zen, like we talked about Alarm and his great Zen play. They could not hang with the British Hurricane.
I do not think the coordination, like as good as Fusion University is, I don't think their coordination was as tight as it would need to be, or you would expect it to be, to break the tank lineup. Because they're probably not practicing to the level that they need against that kind of a lineup. And you can see here, Jax, when you leave a team that's on, yeah, if they weren't ready for it and they weren't practiced for it, and by the way, maybe their coach, their former coach, head coach, not being there, played a role in this as well to make, like, listen, I know they had someone step up and take that role, but it's never quite the same when you have built up trust with somebody that you that can implement his ideas and his what he sees both on your side and what he sees coming from the opponents, and analyze that well. If he can coordinate all those aspects and really help your team out, then yeah, it's going to be a big loss. It doesn't matter if the next guy can also do it. To lose it within weeks of when you need it there, it's still going to be a little bit of a hiccup. I'm not saying that was the only hiccup, Jax. I am saying that they had not had significant practice against a tank-heavy lineup, and I think that influenced them.
So much of Overwatch is preparation, and when you look at the stylistic differences between EU and North America, EU tank heavy. Like Gigante, we talked about them coming out with the 402, and it's odd because on Nepal, in the first game of their finals, British Hurricane versus Gigante, British Hurricane were not ready to deal with the 402. They tried what you said, Lepalose. They went with a triple DPS Winston, where you hopefully have the focus needed to burst on a target. They didn't have it. Now, thankfully, they were able to adjust going forward from that point. But on that first map, you saw British Hurricane struggle, just like Fusion University did throughout the entire series almost, except for Horizon Lunar Colony. But that's 2CP, and Jax doesn't rate 2CP very highly at all. A good show match, but I do have to wonder, Lepalose, at a time when everyone is talking about the patches that are being played and what's going, we don't know, or why aren't they playing on a live patch? When you have a show match of 2 top teams, 2 winners of their respective conferences, would this not be a good time to put out the live patch and get some data?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's a show match. It's a friendly. You play whatever rules are existing, and those rules, when you have it on a video game, are the live rules. I agree with you. Unless there was some special reason that you held off, say like you wanted to do a total mayhem fight on what I'm just being ridiculous there, but you know what I mean. Like unless there is something in terms of the way they set it up. Here, there is no reason not to play it on the actual live patch. I mean, there is one actual reason, like practical reason. Maybe they didn't want to have different patches on their clients and servers at the LAN.
Come on,
that might be part of it.
It's 2018, man. They can switch.
No,
sorry. You almost had me cussing, Lepalose. Let's No. There's no reason not to.
I'm just saying production issues like we've had here on the show can happen. You want to minimize chances like that. So maybe that was part of it. But Jax, minimizing issues. Let's go ahead and talk about the Korean playoffs because there is minimal issues here for X6 Gaming as they took on O2 Ardent. Oasis 2-0 X6, Hollywood 2-1 X6, and Temple of Anubis 1-0 X6, and Route 66 X6 3-2. That's a lot of sixes, Jax. Not a close match. That's a 4-0 for the grand finals. And while O2 Ardent had maybe a sort of a Cinderella story going with their win over Element Mystic in the quarterfinals to upset them, then winning over Metabellum in the semifinals, making it here to the grand finals, and then just completely losing is unfortunately a little bit of a letdown. You're hoping maybe at least for a closer game. X6 doing well though to close it out, so they're looking good despite some of their roster changes themselves.
This was
you had to feel pretty good about Godspeed's performance as well as BQB.
This matchup here brought up a problem that I find myself having a lot is when your Widow is completely outclassed, it's almost impossible for you to win. Godspeed destroyed them. Go back to Route 66 levels, and Godspeed at times would just pop off, and there's nothing O2 Ardent can do. They don't have the Widow player to counter that. They don't have the team coordination to counter that. And I forget, it was one of the analysts or casters, I forget which one, but they basically said that what you have here is a top team, playing a bottom team, but they had 2 weeks to prepare for them. O2 Ardent, they got hot at the right time, right?
Yeah.
They beat Element Mystic, who they had no business beating, but they did. So congrats to them. They didn't went into the semifinals to beat Metabellum. Fantastic. They get to the finals. They get absolutely raffle stomped, but their second place, I mean, you can't take that away from them. X6 Lepalose showing us why they were at one time the number 9 ranked team in the world. Not anymore, but at one time they were. The team had been gutted. Architect gone. Choyo Bin Lepalose gone. Who else? They lost someone else recently. Who was it?
Those are the two big names, honestly, from X6 I got picked up. But those are big names to lose. So they still managed it out though. 4-0 victory here in the end, including their wins over Runaway and Kongju Panthera. They looked like they had a pretty solid season and closed it out pretty well.
BQB as well on the Sombra.
Yeah, he definitely played really strongly, Jackson.
Very solid play.
I believe that ends really what we need to discuss about Korea because, man, I do not want to discuss the failure there of O2 Ardent any more than that. Let's go ahead and talk about the Chinese scene where... Pardon me?
Sorry, go ahead. I said they threw.
Oh, yeah, getting ahead. Well, Jax, have you seen the final videos from the finals here? Yeah. Because we had this little discourse going on about where these finals going to get cut off on Twitch, and of course,
for those who are not aware, I think this final started at 2:00 in the morning. For Lepalose and I, we're both on the West Coast. This was 2:00 Saturday.
Yeah, it was Saturday night, Sunday morning, I believe.
Yeah. No, it was Friday, Saturday, wasn't it? Pick a day.
Yeah.
Pick a day. I don't know. Pick a day. No, you're right. It was Saturday, Sunday. We're watching this. We were enjoying ourselves. We're on TeamSpeak, also in Discord. We're watching these games. LGD Gaming versus Lucky Future Zenith, which is the old Ardent from the OPC Pacific region. Good series.
The Ardent we had hope for.
Yeah, I mean the Lepalose, the first map, Oasis. 2-1.
Eileen showing up well there.
Go to Numbani and
Eileen out, Jax. Eileen out.
This is where
Rika in.
The questions start to rise, Lepalose, because Eileen, my boy, gets benched. They bring in Rika, and you're saying, okay, that Rika obviously his hero pool does something different for them than Eileen.
Nope.
Because why else would you replace a star
Jax,
DPS player like Eileen?
I have an answer for you though. Why don't you go ahead and mention what happened here with Rika on LGD Gaming on their Numbani?
I mean,
his hero pool. You were mentioning it.
I mean, it's just
He played Sombra. Come on, Jax. He played Sombra, but
Played Sombra and he played Genji Lepalose, which is what Eileen plays all the
time. I have the answer for you,
okay,
and it comes from Seoul Dynasty, and that's he probably plays a defensive Sombra. So
I mean, so for here's the thing though. This was I can't say winnable because Lucky Future they went on the attack first. They capped it out.
Yeah, with time left too.
Yeah, and then I'm looking at LGD, and LGD was setting a blistering time. I want to say they had 5.5 minutes to go from second for the final third, and there was a key moment there. Ultimates were starting to come online, and the thing that I question though is they had Shy. Shy was on the Sombra. I'm like, so you have Eileen who played Sombra. You had Rika who was playing Sombra when you were on defense, but now on attack, you have Shy playing Sombra. It's like, well, how many Sombra players
defensive
do you need?
Sombra, Jax. That's what I'm saying.
He was attacking, so Shy is the attacking Sombra.
Yeah.
Except what happened, he's very bad at it. He said, well, I mean, they had 5 minutes, so he couldn't have been bad. They steamrolled the first 2 points. Except I'm looking at it, I'm saying, it's those key moments where he has the EMP, and I'm saying to myself, he has to kill the Zen. You must kill Zen before he can transcend. You have to. Because it was at that point where on the body in the final third, you're getting around to that final corner where the defense reinforces faster and you can stall out. And that's what happened here. The ultimates were terrible. They used 5 Lepalose. Count them. 5 ultimates. And I want to say 6. I'm trying to be nice and not say it was a full 6. But I know it was 5. And they were unable to win the fight. They were unable to win any fight going forward from there because they moved Shy to Tracer, or maybe it was Widow. They moved Rika over to the Sombra, so now he's back on Sombra on attack, except they could not deal with Erster. At one point, Erster built 2 EMPs before Rika even got one off. Lepalose.
Yeah.
Throw. This map here was thrown.
Yeah, that puts it back to even. Hanamura, though, going the side of LGD Gaming pretty soundly, too. 2-1 on that one. Dorado, Lucky Future Zenith.
Hold on. I have to pause you here because it was around this time where you and I were actually active on Twitter.
Yeah,
that's a rarity. It's a rarity.
Listen, we usually reserve our responses to when people contact us, but
yes,
we were on it because
I had questions. I was refreshing because I saw something that said the EU Contenders final was going live in like 40 minutes. I'm like, how are they gonna go live? They're being broadcast on the same channel. Like, is this right? And Lepalose was like, I don't know. So I tweeted at a couple people, Leg Day Gaming. I was like, Leg Day, give me a heads up here. What's going on? No response, Lepalose. And then,
no, I mean, you did get a response. You know, you got he liked it,
did.
But well,
he didn't. No, he responded to you talking about us suffering because we didn't have any English casting and how we wished his old bootleg stream was back. So he was around. He just chose to ignore my post because Lepalose, this is the path to pro. This is me. This is the Chinese path to being a professional. This is me putting my faith in Blizzard. In Blizzard, I trust to run things, to schedule things. I'm sitting here at 3:30 in the morning watching the Contenders Chinese final, and you're going to preempt it for the European Contenders final? Are you joking?
No, you're not joking, Jax.
They didn't even provide me with a link to where this was being broadcast. I had to go to Reddit and click some link that sent me to some Chinese site that I don't know anything about. And wouldn't work in my Chrome, but did work in my Firefox, thankfully, because they were unable to schedule things properly.
Jax, it's definitely a disappointment, but you know,
what does this tell you?
I'm speechless, really, because it's troubling.
If you're a Chinese fan of Overwatch, I mean, thankfully they have their own site.
Yeah, they do, but it's rather disappointing that they had this overlap, for sure. I think it's rather frustrating for us that we're trying to watch this and trying to report on it.
This final and go to EU, and
Western bias showing through, Jax.
It's even worse because when they went to EU, I wasn't watching gameplay. You know what I was watching? A damn pre-game show that I don't care about.
Yeah, and it's such a shame because there was like some good stuff happening too.
And you're taking us to map 4 It's
Dorado.
2-1 in favor of LGD because Lucky Future Zenith did what all teams do on Hanamura Lepalose. They take Soldier Tracer, they try to push up that right side, and if that doesn't work, they don't have a plan B at all.
It's a classic problem of Hanamura where it's like, well, this works and it's proven to work, and it either does or it doesn't, so we're going to do this forever. Anyways, Jax, Dorado going their side, though, pretty strongly. 3-1 on that map, and a dominant performance there when you hold before second.
Hold on, Lepalose, I got a question for you.
Go,
LGD
right?
won Oasis, lost Nambani, won Hanamura. Now you say they lost Dorado pretty handily, 3-1 here.
You're concerned. You're concerned because they're not winning escorts or hybrids.
You know that's where I put value at, but I also have to question you, Lepalose. Why is Rika back in for Eileen again?
They're feeling that defensive. They're feeling that defensive Sombra again, Jack.
He's playing the exact same heroes that Eileen does. So now we're going to King of the Hill, Ilios, which means Eileen is now back, and lo and behold, 100 to 99, 100 to 99, LGD Gaming have won again.
Yeah, and well, you know, that puts them up in a good position. They have 2 more games to play at worst, and they only need to win one of them.
Win one. Yes.
And Jax, we're on Hollywood. 3-2 going the side of Lucky Future Zenith there. All right. Well, you know, unfortunately,
I watched this about an hour before the podcast started. This was Shy, the DPS player for LGD Gaming, falling into the Widow's Trap and being unable to find his way out of it until it was too late.
Yeah. You're talking on Hollywood.
Yes, this is on Hollywood. Lucky Future Zenith went on the attack first. They actually did not complete the map. They came up a little bit short. So LGD Gaming had a distance, which is what you want most of all. You want a distance to meet and take it and win contenders. They got the first point faster than Lucky Future Zenith did, Lepalose, but they stalled out in second because Shy could not kill anything on Widow. When he finally switched off Widow and went Tracer in the final fight for second, lo and behold, they take it. They only had a minute and a half to push the distance of 52.56 meters. Came up short at 46.88 because Shy once again disappeared. And now, instead of it being 4-2, and LGD Gaming getting their win, it's 3-3. We're going to Junkertown, and I'm sad to say, Lepalose, Nambani, Dorado, Hollywood, all the hybrids and payload, and escort, have gone in favor of Lucky Future Zenith, and Junkertown is another escort.
Yeah, and it goes the same way, Jack's a long one there. It's a 5-4 on Junkertown to close it out here on for the side of Lucky Future Zenith. And we've mentioned map pools and being good at certain map types before. It helps that these longer map sets, like when we have longer series, generally the best of 7 series, typically have these escort and hybrid heavy map lineups, and when you're a good hybrid and escort team, that favors you. Here, Lucky Future Zenith winning off of that, not necessarily only that, but definitely helping them.
I know there are 2 other game modes besides hybrid and escort, but hybrid and escort is where the game should really be played. When you lose every hybrid and escort map, you don't deserve to win. I'm sorry, that you really don't deserve to win.
You could say, they didn't have a second 2CP, Jax, but
because thank goodness. But I'm telling you right now, you won. Lucky Future Zenith won 5-4. They had 161 seconds left in the time bank. That should tell you something.
Yeah.
What it should also tell you is that I believe it was 3 minutes and
It tells me they didn't have Rika in for that defensive Sombra.
I was just about to tell you they didn't have Rika, who obviously plays more defensively than Eileen, and it showed because on Lucky Future Zenith went on the attack first, and there was no defense.
Yeah.
Lucky Future Zenith finished with, I believe, 3 minutes and 20 or maybe 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the time bank on Junkertown, Lepalose.
Yeah.
Then LGD Gaming went on their attack. Shy is once again on Widow, and Shy played like Stage 2 Sure 4 on Widow. And as you all remember, Stage 2 Sure 4 was very inconsistent on Widow. He had moments where you said...
I'm waiting for it.
I'm fell to the level.
Jax. Jack's packet loss about as consistent apparently as Shy's Widow play
I mean, if you take a
overall.
look at it, I have 60% outbound packet loss right now.
Yeah,
You know,
that's better than the hit percentage probably coming out of Shy. But
I mean, I hate to put it all on him, and we're kind of we're kind of behind on time,
yeah,
so we didn't really get to focus on this. So I'm just gonna give him some credit, even though they lost. Gushu, the main tank for LGD Gaming, those first 3 maps played fantastic. While Shy did struggle in the second half of the series, sorry, while Shy didn't, he struggled in the second half of the series, so did Gushu. If you remember, Lepalose, when we were talking,
yeah.
he had those PogChamp moments on Winston
Listen,
and beautiful tank play, and he just disappeared.
as
He
some
didn't play
teams,
bad. He didn't have those moments anymore, and they needed it.
I mean, we got to talk then about like half a cool and in this whole land thing and longer series. I mean, maybe Gushu just not ready for the longer series like this that were played out to a full 7 games on land, right? Like it's a different level of experience and different level of stamina that is required to do that and do that in front of people while you're on there. Maybe nerves. I don't know what it is, but Lucky Future Zenith here taking the long route in order to win this in 7, and they earned that title, the winner spot for season 1 China.
They earned a title. I am a little tired of Ardiant right now.
User in your channel timed out.
Yeah,
when I say tired, I go back to OPC in the Pacific region where they were a Korean team who beat up on everybody. Okay, fine. When Contenders was broken down into the individual regions, I'm saying now maybe I can see how good Ardiant is because they had never played anyone. And even now, after this Lepalose, I'll say, okay, they're good enough to win in Pacific region. They're good enough to win in China. But can you, if I were to ask you, how good is Ardiant? Can Ardiant beat X6 Gaming? I don't think they can.
I don't think so either. I really do not.
And when I say I'm tired of this team, I'm tired of them staying in lesser regions and beating up on the easy opposition here. Listen, LGD Gaming is a good team. They're the best Chinese team, right? So for LGD, it's good that Lucky Future Zenith is here with this Ardiant roster. But Ardiant, you're very quickly arriving at my scumbag list because this is what they're doing.
This is not Ardiant. This is like the play. They probably got paid. Like they got picked up by Lucky Future, right?
So Lepalose. So then, if you're a player and you're competitive, they're comfortable with this. Then, for them, they got their what is it?
They got a bit of money. I mean, Jax, it's better that than boosting. So
this is the path to pro, right? Let me tell you, if you're an Overwatch League team or if you're one of the expansion teams, you're going to look at Erster beating up on teams in China, or you're going to go to Godspeed in Korea. I can guarantee you they're going to sign Godspeed before they sign Erster because they're playing people that matter.
Shanghai Dragon is going to need some replacements here. So
you damn Lepalose, I promise you they're not about. You think they're gonna sign Erster? No.
Who knows?
Listen,
I do not know.
Probably a fantastic player. I can't tell you how good he is because he don't play nobody. Lepalose, when it comes time for the World Cup, you know where I saw Eileen and where he shined? On the World Cup stage where he was playing international competition. Where am I going to see Erster? Not playing for Team Korea. He's going to take Sabobi's spot? Striker? Flea? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's not going to be that.
Ardiant or Lucky Future Zenith, whoever you are, stop being scumbags. Go to Korea and play at a higher level. That's me off my soapbox.
I don't disagree with you.
Me off, dude. No, Lepalose, they're scumbags. Play someone who matters, dude.
Listen. If they're paid money to go to where they are, which I think they were, right? Particularly I agree with you about the OPC. I don't know why they went. Maybe they were trying to get the payout of winning all that.
It's easy. That OPC had a huge prize pool.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it just makes financial sense, I guess. But and that probably carried on to being hired into Lucky Futures. Like there was Lucky Future Jackson, Lucky Future weren't doing so well, so they're like, let's bring in these guys that were beating up in the OPC region and put them under our brand with a couple dollars turned their way. Maybe they'll come over and
Listen,
I can understand that.
I know it's somewhat, it's odd of me being hypocritical. Sorry, of me being upset at mercenaries, considering
Yeah.
where we're at right now, and the brand that we operate under. But
I think what your point is valid though. Like if I could state, like, they're giving up maybe short-term games and getting some of this money now for their growth potential in terms of being challenged by top-tier teams, which frankly a lot of these Chinese teams are not right now, particularly
LGD
when you look at our
only
gaming.
one, I mean,
Yeah,
they did they got pushed in the semifinals.
They did, absolutely.
But this is.
But we go again, and do you think these guys can take on Element Mystic, who got put out of their misery by former Ardian members, or the new Ardian team rather, right? Like we don't know, because we don't see them. So we didn't even get to see it so much. There was no Pacific challenge.
I saw the semifinal against T1W Esports. I watched this 7-game series against LGD Gaming, and I'm telling you, they would lose to Element Mystic. They would lose to X6 Gaming. They would probably lose to Runaway as well. It's just, and so as a result, we don't want to lose. We want to win. We want to collect this easy paycheck down here in China. We're on vacation. Leave us alone, Jax Blake. We're gonna be back here for season 2 again. We just gonna make our money. Like, this is their path to pro. This is where it ends for them, Lepalose.
Well, if they don't, it's a small step though, Jax.
It's a small step. This is the last step.
Well, I mean, the step up to Shanghai Dragons is pretty small, and we've got to move into our preview of Stage 4, which we're doing right now, starting from bottom to top.
I'm gonna preview. Hey, Lepalose, what patch are they playing on? Yeah,
we obviously do not know, but our preview here is going to be short because of that, Jax. I don't want to talk about it too long. It's simply because we do not know where they stand right now, right? Like, we've mentioned this off the top that we don't know what patch they're going to be playing on. So, like, we're going to have to be like, if it's this patch, then they're going to be good, and if it's that patch, then things can change. So that's why we're going to keep it pretty short this week, while we go through short for this stage, simply because there is so many variables that could happen depending on which patch we are. That said, let's go through teams really quickly. Shanghai Dragons entering Stage 4. They're 0 and how many now, Jax? 0 and 20. 0 and 10.
30. They lost every game, Lepalose.
In Stage 3.
They played 10. Is it how many games?
Yeah, they're 0 and 30. They're 0 and 30 overall. Their map scoreline is a horrendous 17, 105, and 1. And in Stage 4, I do not see this changing. They might be able to take off the fuel now that fuel
Lepalose
does not have effect.
I mean, because okay.
There's a but here.
I'm still upset at this whole Overwatch League thing.
I know, but we got to move past it. We had half an hour on that.
0-30 with 17 and 1, and 17 1 and 105, and 0 and 10 last stage. You're saying Shanghai will not win a game this year, is what you're saying?
I believe. Yeah, I don't think they will. There's a chance with the Dallas Fuel, but we go back to the patches, and if Tracer is no longer the most important hero, Effect not being in the lineup in Stage 4 for Fuel doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be as weak versus the Shanghai Dragons anymore, because guess what? You have Seagull on Hanzo, and Hanzo has strong hero.
It comes on who plays the baguette, but that's neither here nor there. What is here though is the last game of day 1 of Stage 4 is Dallas Fuel versus the Shanghai Dragons.
We'll come to game predictions shortly, Jax.
I'm gonna pull an analyst desk and say the Shanghai Dragons will beat the Dallas Fuel. That team is a disaster.
Oh man, yeah, this is a hard one. This could be a defining moment.
Since we're not doing picks, we're doing overall stage impressions. Yeah. I will say Shanghai will finish better than they did last stage because they will win a game.
Yeah, I mean, even if they don't win against the field, I think they'll do better from the map scoreline. Although they did all right last time, they've been improving. Again, they had a lull in their improvement, but it's coming back. Just like the ambulance are coming by, though, they're still going to be in critical condition in Stage 4.
No, I hear the siren. And
they're coming to pick up the
Dallas Fuel, because Lepalose in Stage 3, the Shanghai Dragons were 9, 0, and 32. The Dallas Fuel were 9, 2, and 30. The only team they beat was the Shanghai Dragons. I'm seeing upside for Shanghai, downside for Dallas Fuel. you're probably right that they're good lucky and the meta, they'll be on the patch that favors them over Shanghai. But as of right this moment, with me not knowing what patch they're playing on, I'm going with Shanghai.
Yeah. So I understand that, but we'll come back around to those predictions. But let's carry on with overall impressions. Florida Mayhem, also bottom tier in the league, just behind Dallas Fuel by map scoreline. Sitting at a -51 instead of a -47. They're not looking great for stage 4 either. Obviously, with the changes, they feel comfortable that moving to a tank meta will help them out. But listen, that's like the rallying cry of a team that's like losing, because you're basically saying that this meta that nobody else is running right now will favor us because the current meta doesn't. It's a fallacy to think that just because you're not doing well in the current meta means that other teams will struggle to switch to a heavy tank composition. I don't think that's the case. Anything can happen, but I don't think they're going to do that much better. I think they'll do better than the Dragons and Fuel in this stage, but not any better than that.
For me, I got my bottom 3 for you right now. At the bottom, you got the Fuel, and the Shanghai Dragons, and then the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah. I think that, and I mean that comes up to the Fuel next, which is we basically went through it there. They're going to be they're going to be struggling for sure. Dallas Fuel will be. I agree with that there, Jax. Which brings us up to the Shock, currently sitting in 9th place with a -14 map scoreline. They've had a lot of improvements,
so
but
that 9th place is overall. But in the context of stage 3, they were 5th, 6-4, 21-20 map line.
I think,
do they improve on that level?
I think they will struggle in the meta that's up and coming, right? Like I look at the meta that's up and coming, and I don't think that's going to favor them. So I think they're gonna be in 6th or 7th. Like you look at their tank lane, and you look at like who's going to play the Hanzo. Like the Tracer's becoming less important. Do you think the Sombra's going to have the same importance?
I think Architect is very versatile in what he can play. I expect him to play Hanzo. The supports they have, they can rotate 3 supports. However, I think you might have forgotten they picked up Choyo Bin. If he's
English ready to play,
and his communications work with this team, then I'm very curious as to what they can do. Because Choi, if you you have Super in a Rhine dominant meta.
Yeah.
Super and Reinhardt levels. That's where we knew Super playing for LG Evil and
it's a baguette dominant meta. Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is.
Who the baguette would be? Nevix. Who?
Do you think so?
Nevix has played.
Yeah, he's a huge flex.
He's Mr.
Dude. Okay,
flex.
You bring up a good point. I think you've convinced me here, Jax. I will admit to that. The delta is on your side here.
Can Choyo Bin, how's his Zarya? Mm-hmm. Or here's the thing, Lepalose. If you because we're talking about Choyo Bin, right? It's a very Ryan Zarya baguette dominant meta right now. I gotta go to my boy, not my boy. I'm not gonna claim him, but 150K. He's Zarya. He plays the DPS Zarya level.
I guess you're right.
Or Baby Bay. Both of them have played a pretty good DPS. Their gravitas.
They definitely have. They do have potential, but then you're gonna have to come back at me, Jax, with teams that are gonna do worse than San Francisco Shock this term. And let's. Jack's getting so angry that the packet loss is breaking him up.
You have no idea.
Which is why we need to go through this quickly, Jackson. LA Gladiators, maybe one of those teams that might do worse in this up and coming phase. To be honest, as well. You talk about consistencies. Sure, for practice enough for the upcoming patch when we don't even know what patch that is, right?
Hydration will play the Hanzo. His Hanzo, hydration is pretty good at Hanzo.
Yep.
For the record, he's I think #1 right now on the top 500 ladder with his Hanzo play. Sure, for Zarya, I have huge questions about.
I mean, maybe we'll get Asher Zarya, Jax.
No,
so
Asher's on my crap list.
And this is why I'm looking at them as struggling. But if we talk about Houston Outlaws, I actually think this will favor them overall as a. They have great tanks here for this. Let's be honest.
This team, I'm not a Houston Outlaws fan. This team angers me with how they've been managed, and I I hate that
they have a
being
player
given
whose
this
his
level
name
is
is
a huge
officially outlawed from. You get that one?
You
All right.
you can talk about it if you want.
Yeah, we're talking Mendo Kasai.
Um,
Jax is
I-
not talking
I'm,
about him.
I'm not gonna say
They
that
picked
name.
up Coach Kai Kai. Maybe they're ready to go up.
Lepalose. Linkster will play the Hanzo. The fact that Jake won't have to play Tracer is a godsend to this team.
Yes.
I don't know what his baguette is like. I don't know what his flex tank is like.
They're just going to run him on Junkrat. That's all they're going to do.
But no, they don't have to because they've got Spree, who's one of the best Zaryas.
Yeah.
Cool Matt will most likely be able to flex from the Diva to the baguette because Cool Matt is versatile like that, or Roadhog or whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, when Tracer is moved out of the must-have list, Houston automatically rises.
I think
Tracer
they can make the playoffs because of it, to be honest.
Houston has suffered the last 2 stages because they don't have a Tracer player.
Speaking of suffering, though, I think Fusion might face some troubles with the up-and-coming meta themselves.
We don't know. Hey, Lepalose.
We don't know.
Listen, Mr. Booster. He's back. He's allowed to play. Sato.
Do you think we see him game 1?
Yes, day 1.
All right. What do you expect out of Fusion?
From what I see, I don't know if he. It's okay. Levels. You got a Ryan dominant meta. You got Fraggy. From what I have heard, Sato was the best flex they had at the tank position, but he couldn't play. The best.
Yep.
Now, maybe he plays main tank. When I've seen it,
do you think he's ready to go, though? Like, have they practiced him enough? Maybe Blizzard prevented him from practicing as they did XQC. No, they just hate XQC that much more that they didn't allow him to practice, but allowed boosters to practice instead, is what we're saying.
I think we see Sato... wow, this stage, because of this meta shift, it has just opened things wide up. What we don't see Shadowburn. I think we see even less Snillo, unless perhaps Carpe, has broken his toe. Because last time we saw Carpe, we didn't see him because he needed a break.
There might be trouble in Fusion, and I think that might continue. I honestly think that continues into the stage. Jax, LA Valiant up next. What do you think they're going to be doing this time around? Do you think they will have?
On the Valiant.
I agree.
I didn't buy them as okay. Obviously, they finished 3rd in stage 3. They had a very favorable schedule. I don't know. Downgrade for them.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably a straight downgrade, short of some amazing play. I mean, you're basically taking Bunny out of the meta, which then...
Who plays Hanzo?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, good questions. More questions coming Dynasty way. Do you start Ryu Jae-hung in tank from here on out? You're going to a Rhine meta, Jax.
They don't... I mean, Miro's Rhine has been okay. He had great improvements.
But have we seen the Ryu Jae-hung Rhine?
Listen,
there are question mark, and when there are question mark upon question marks coming into the meta of this, Jax, I can't feel good about them.
The calms and calmness and leadership that they need at the tank position, then that might be more important than actual tank skill. I think he's a very smart player. I wouldn't be surprised if he does start at the Rhine. My question for them is Zumba fully healthy now? Because if they're going to give me that Zephyr crap again, or if Zephyr's Zarya is the same as his Diva, then they're screwed. If Zumba is healthy and able to play the Zarya, Zumba is up in contention for best Zarya player in the world. Flea, you already know Flea can flex to whatever you want, unless it's a defensive.
But they've always had potential. But now we've seen for multiple stages they just drop that potential. I think they have the potential to drop out of the top 6 for overall. I mean, I think it's likely it's likely they remain in the top 6. But look at it. They're sitting at 19 and 11 right now.
Yeah.
If Outlaws or Gladiators have a really good stage 4, and we just said Outlaws, this meta might favor them, and they get 3 more series on top of Dynasty, like a net of 3, right? They will make it out in front of Dynasty. Like, that is not.
I think the Gladiators shot themselves in the foot with stage 1 playoffs. I don't think they'll make it.
Because I think they're going to have a weaker.
And they have to make up 3 games and 14 map differential. This is for the Gladiators.
Yeah,
Like,
Gladiators.
the Seoul
But
Dynasty would have to absolutely collapse.
well,
And
more
I don't
like
see that happening.
more like yeah. I mean, Dynasty would have to drop like 6 years, which I mean, if you look at the record in Stage 3, could be in the realm of possibility. Speaking of realm of possibility, small, even more outside chance of London Spitfire dropping out. They have a
Is
20
Birdring
and
healthy?
10,
Is
but
Birdring healthy?
if Birdring is not healthy, they're going to again face some struggles. I think if London gets their stuff together, they'll do fine again in this stage, and they should hopefully get back into the playoffs for the stage.
I think they make overall stage playoffs. They'd have to fall out of the top 6, which means Houston would have to make up 4 games and was that
right
25 map differential?
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous for them to get kicked out.
I don't think that'll happen.
They're pretty locked in, likely, right? Just as much as the next team is Boston Uprising, 22-8 and right now on their scoreline. They don't have the differential, but
do they regain their old form? Right, the win streak snapped by the New York Excelsior. Does Boston, with their 5 support players on their roster?
Yeah, Jax, I don't know. They're questionable. I think it sort of helps them maybe a bit but then Striker. The problem is Striker carried so hard on that Tracer.
It's the Hanzo question, right? Like,
can he do it on the Hanzo? Your Striker is going to need to. I'm sorry to say, like you're going to ask Mistakes to carry on that Hanzo. Striker was your carry. And Tracer is likely to be going by the wayside.
This is one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to this day. I mean, we're assuming the Hanzo patch is in Lepalose.
Yeah, we are. But that's what we have to do to keep this short.
Okay.
And keeping it short, Jax, let's go ahead and talk about the top team, though.
I don't think.
NYXL, do you think they're going to do all right this round?
It doesn't matter. Lepalose, what is the one team that is already guaranteed their playoff spot?
No, but do you think they're going to do well in Stage 4? Like, are they going to coast in Stage 4?
Probably. Libero is gonna be their Hanzo player. He's a pretty good Hanzo. Pretty good easy. I mean,
I agree with you because they have Libero.
Yes. Unless Mako for whatever reason can't play Zarya, which I'm pretty sure he can. I look at this roster. Yes,
they're strong. They're strong coming up even into Stage 4. I have
high
expectations.
My only question is the baguette for this team, and I have no doubt that they will figure it out. This is the one team they have not given me reason to doubt them. So yeah, I think they're fine.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty reasonable look at where we stand now. We are just going to, and man, it's been I guess 2 weeks since I've had to do this, but I need to get the post set up here for the preview of our upcoming week, Jax. But we have, of course, our regular.
Let me take a look. Then this is Stage 4, Week 1. Big game. We're starting out with big game here. Shields up. Big game though. Big game between the Los Angeles Gladiators and San Francisco Shock. I'm sorry to say that the loser of this game most likely doesn't make the playoffs.
Whatsoever.
Like I'm not. They still have a chance at Stage 4 playoffs, but I'm looking now at overall season 1 end of season 1 main regular season playoffs, and the loser here I think is done because no, San Francisco is already done. They're not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, San Francisco's done.
12 and 18. There is no way they're going to. They can't. They cannot make up 6 games. Okay, they can, but they're not going to. They're not going to make up 6 games to catch Philadelphia, who's currently in 6th place.
So, do you think Gladiators have a chance against the San Francisco Shock?
I wish I knew what patch they were playing on. I'm gonna pick the Gladiators, but okay, this is me picking my home team. If you put sentimentality aside, I think San Francisco might do some really, really, really good things this stage.
Yeah, that's why I'm going with it.
Hanzo, or if someone can play Hanzo, they have a very interesting roster.
Yeah, and that's why I'm going with the Shock. Jax, we have Seoul Dynasty taking on Valiant next. We have Jax taking on Dynasty. I have to do the same, Jax. Valiant, they had a decent Stage 3, but I'm hoping Dynasty has some of their woes figured out coming into Stage 4. And
Valiant, that team, they have issues. Follow that up, Lepalose, with Dax Blake upset prediction number 1 of Stage 4. Shanghai Dragons over the Dallas Fuel. You heard it here.
Yeah, Jax is
heard it
going
here.
with that one. I actually have to go with the fuel on this one, this is a hard pick though, Jax. I could easily see Dragons getting this one. This is one of those 50-50, and there's a reason why me and you are split. I'm not trying to play the devil's advocate. I do think fuel, particularly with a Hanzo lineup, can play stronger. I think their weakness is if OGE does not play well on the tanks. Shanghai Dragons potentially with an aggressive Fearless could abuse him on that, and if Unco is not hitting his shots well.
Who's playing Zarya for this team? Do you remember Mickey Zarya, Lepalose? I do. It wasn't very good. Not at a professional level.
And this is why I have a hard time taking on either team right now, or picking either team, because both teams.
Do you not remember Gajuri Zarya? Are you kidding me? Gajuri.
Yeah, but listen, you still have Free Feel there in the backlines that they're going to play him.
You have my boy Sky, Zufan June, the coaches. They will read that Reddit post I pasted 3 weeks ago where I said Free Field is garbage. You don't play him anymore. Sky.
I guess Harblue has been listening because he had the shade thrown too.
You saw that, by the way, yeah.
He had the shade for sure too. Talking about two teams though that have a little shade between them, we're talking Uprising versus. Come on, Philadelphia even had shade against Shanghai Dragons there at one point. They got the boo out. Here though, you had the Uprising taking on the Fusion. This is going to be a hard read for me though. I have to go with Uprising.
I'm going to take the Philadelphia Fusion here.
See, we got another difference already this week. Stage 4 already upsetting us in terms of our predictions. No longer uniform across everything, which is a good sign. It's a good sign, but unfortunately this sign comes at the cost of not knowing what patch we're playing, because it's really hard to pick between these two teams without even knowing what patch we're going to be on.
I feel like the first week of every stage is always going to be when you
high
got
variability.
A meta shift, like, even if we don't.
Yeah, even if we don't know which patch we're going to be on, then.
It's like we're going to have someone back in. It's a huge meta. That one hero completely throws the meta, and it's almost impossible to pick. But I'm thinking Philly just because I like certain things about this meta. With or without New Hanzo.
Yeah, well,
Boston, I have questions.
I agree with you. I do understand. But I do like Boston.
They lost the coach. By the way,
they did.
This is another reason to pick San Francisco Shock this stage. They got Coach Krusty, who worked magic. Lepalose.
You might be right on those fronts, but you know what? Fusion might struggle with the Hanzo meta, particularly if Carpe's not there. But not struggling will be NY Excelsior as they take on Florida Mayhem on day 2, game 2. I think you're probably with me on that one. Don't need to talk about that one then. Houston versus London.
This one here. Oh. This one here. This game out of any other this week is determined by what patch they're playing on. If Tracer is still a thing,
if Prophet can do work, I've got to go with Outlaws because I'm going to assume it's on the new patch. What are you feeling, Jax?
I hate Houston. Oh, wow. Is Birdring healthy?
Yeah, but more questions, Jax. We need reporters talking about this because we have no idea.
Man. Does Prophet,
no idea.
Prophet plays everything. Does he play Hanzo, though?
That's a good question. I don't think so, but maybe he has to.
We're splitting it up again.
You're going Spitfire. Oh, yeah. Even with those.
Aces high, Lepalose. Got the Royal Wedding coming up.
Hey.
They're not going to lose. You got the Royal Wedding, Lepalose. They're going to win.
Yeah, they got that general manager, little Susie there, doing some good work too on the media front.
High.
I do appreciate it.
Doesn't live in the team house.
She seems pretty mature, so I understand that. But I do like Spitfire, Jax, but I do have to go Outlaws on that one. But that takes us into day 3, Dallas Fuel taking on Gladiators. Yeah, we're going to be doubling up on that one because while I picked Fuel previously, it was against the lowest opponent possible. And Jax, I'm still secretly hoping that my preseason prediction about Shanghai Dragons, like, I don't want it to be true, but I suspect it's going to come true. So we'll see what comes.
If Shanghai wins, that's game of the week.
We have to talk about it. Absolutely.
Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
I take it starting.
You got to say what the game is.
And then here, believe it or not.
Yeah, you got to mention the game first. Uprising versus Houston, Jax. That's what he's struggling over right now.
I don't want to because I don't like them. I'm gonna take Houston.
Ooh, wow, that's
I have something about Boston right now. I've got like red flags, and it's not packet loss. It's just warnings galore going off in my head about this team right now.
I'll put it this way. I've had trouble whenever I've picked Boston twice in a week, particularly on variable. So I'm actually with you. But then what that means is I'm picking Outlaws twice in a week, and I don't like that any better either. So I'm actually flip-flopping on that one, going back to Boston. In all honesty here, though, it is really difficult. And I think I do actually have to go with Outlaws simply because when you take Tracer out of the meta, it's going to hit Boston a lot harder than some other teams, particularly considering their hero pool and who was their carry, their Tracer player. And then on the converse side, you just look at Outlaws, and all of a sudden this opens up a lot of opportunity for them. So I'm actually with you on this one.
Have I told you I'm upset at the Overwatch League? Like, this is directly affecting me and my podcast.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know what patch you're playing. Especially when I look at this next game here.
He's talking.
Say, Jax, what do you mean? San Francisco Shock versus the Seoul Dynasty. This, people, has the potential to be game of the week. Yes, this is how much faith I'm telling you. If you're asleep on San Francisco, wake up. This is their stage. Wake up.
I mean, they have potential. They've been there now together. Architect,
Zarya, Baguette. What man? Okay.
Do you take Shock? Do you take Shock here over this Seoul Dynasty? I'm gonna start with because I think Dynasty still gonna struggle. They'll probably win against Valiant because Valiant will drop the ball against them. But I think their inconsistencies will continue to hit as Shock improves.
Blizzard were no, Horizon is back in the map pool, Lepalose. Oh no.
We're gonna have to
Blizzard World, Horizon, Luna Colony, Oasis, and Gibraltar.
So we might see some Fleta come out on that Widowmaker, depending.
That's the problem. Is San Francisco? I mean, Architect there. You know what, Lepalose? We're gonna go Seoul Dynasty. You're on your way out. Ascendancy to San Francisco. Shock. Jax Blake going with them.
We're tied up on that one too. Jax, let's move into day 4 though, where we're going to have some more similarities, at least for two. You know what? I'm gonna suspect we're gonna be all the same here.
Except for that, no. I mean, it depends on how prepared London is for.
Well, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Game 1, Fusion versus Mayhem, taking on our day 4 first thing on Saturday. Come on, we're not picking Mayhem here.
No.
Yeah, we're both going with Fusion. It's hard to pick the lowest teams, and it's unreasonable unless you have something that really has come up. And I don't think even with the patch that thing has come up here for the Mayhem.
I hope they prove me wrong. I think that listen, it depends on how
they don't even have mineral there anymore, though.
I mean that's okay for those. Not just that, because do you remember what I wrote on Discord is that after mineral, the coach, Ryder, he's the next quote unquote head coach. He's Korean. I see on that interview that the other assistant coach gave that was posted today, Lepalose. They don't have a translator.
I mean, great for us.
I want you to think about what I just said.
Great for us.
They
horrible
don't have
for
a
them.
Translator for the current head coach, Lepalose.
Yeah, we've mentioned them having huge organizational issues before, Jax. Another glaring one. This time given off because of a lack of
as well as drive the bus now, Lepalose. This is ridiculous.
As long as he does not doing the laundry, I think we're in the clear because this is horrible stuff coming out.
Swedish or Finnish. Where is your damn translator?
Listen. I think Daniel is busy with the teams that are winning these days, so it's a bit of a shame. Jax, let's move on to.
I hope that man took this week off and fixed his wardrobe. Okay, that coat he had on, that was awful. Man.
It was awful, but
terrible.
It's like he got it out of Malik's wardrobe or something like that. Anyways, maybe not. But Shanghai Dragons.
Not as bad as Florida's, front office, but
not as bad there. Speaking of bad front offices, so Shanghai Dragons taking on Valiant here. I think not a big surprise when I tell you I'm going with Valiant. I wouldn't be surprised if Shanghai takes a couple maps off of Valiant, but I don't think they're going to take a map.
I'm picking the Valiant because I can't go full analyst and pick Shanghai twice in 1 week.
I mean, you picked them once in a week, so I'm pretty sure that's already full analyst.
That should tell you how little I rate Dallas as an organization.
And I don't blame you for that. I think that's completely fair because they had part of an issue with that. But anyways, Jax, we're both on Valiant there, taking us into Spitfire versus NYXL. which I know.
I'm taking New York, but again, could go either way. And listen, people, I'm asking for
Jax, Hureg needs to pop
I'm
off.
asking for a hall pass for this first week because I don't have.
Do we have a Janice prediction though on how much Janice we see from the NYXL?
Listen, Lepalose, they have okay. They are 27-3 with a plus 68 map line. The closest team to them is 22-8 and plus 27. Boston is not going to make up 5 games in one stage, Leplos. They're going to mess around, and when I say mess around, they're going to get people the experience that they feel that New York might feel they don't have. Janice will be priority tank for this stage.
I agree. I think that would be a great idea. I mean, at least at the start of the stage, particularly as you get closer, you want to
perhaps his style. One of the differences though, like Mano is a little bit more aggressive. He's he gets out that Winston damage. With the meta change, perhaps Janice's style on the Rhine, because Janice, if you go back to Apex, Janice was a fantastic Reinhardt.
Yeah,
for LW Blue.
I mean, Wizard Young has said that he has, like, depending on the day, I guess, like whichever tank on NOXL is performing, he feels can perform at the highest levels. He just doesn't know which one it is, right? So he's hoping Janice here will show it on stage. And sometimes you just need to practice them until they start performing at that level. I suspect we'll start to see like maybe three maps against Florida, 2 maps here against London. I'm not making an official prediction on that, but I think what you're getting at is giving him more time here is something we'll see through stage 4. But Jax, I am also selecting NYXL here. All the obvious reasons with a strong lineup with great depth of roster.
It's obvious right now, but again,
it can be upset. Birdring can pop off here with the lineup that London has. They can still easily win if everything comes together, but it hasn't been coming together for them for a long time, and I don't see that changing in week 1.
Okay, from going forward, as long as the Overwatch League keeps this style of format here, I need an asterisk. I need a hall pass for every week 1 of every stage, because
it's high variability week, Jax. I mean, that's where you have to earn our money. It's like people trying to predict. Of course, this one we have that extra.
To earn my dollars and give me internet that works, Lepalo.
You got to pay for not only all access, but apparently also better internet access there in LA yourself, Jax. But
ridiculous.
That really calls an end to our predictions, and it also
this could be a really good week, or it could be a really crappy week.
it really
has
depends.
The potential to be. I'm telling you right now, this meta change here could just blow things up. I think a lot of the playoff teams are set. I think they have built up a big enough buffer, and I think teams like the Gladiators honestly shot themselves in the foot last stage in the stage 2, where they gave up games where they didn't have that winning mentality. They didn't close it out. And now they're going to be on the outside looking in. So it's really about Lepalose, like 4, 5, and 6 almost. You also have to keep in mind that the divisions matter. This is the first time now divisions actually matter. First place in each division, automatic entry to the playoffs. Even they could be, the Pacific team could be the 7th best team in the league, but if they're first in their division, there you go.
Yeah, that's absolutely
true.
For
Soul Dynasty, all you have to do is come ahead of the Valiant, and I don't think the Gladiators can catch them, but so come ahead of the Valiant, which is your closest competitor.
Yeah, so
that's the little mini game that, because Soul likes to do that. They like to think outside the box. They often think themselves out of the playoffs. So keep that in mind, is what I would say.
Yeah, good points there, Jax. I think that's a good place to wrap it up, though, as we end today, guys. I know this episode has had a couple of technical difficulties, so please thank you for tuning in and listening to us live and on Twitch, if you're watching this on VOD, or on YouTube as well. I do appreciate it. Of course, I'll try my best to edit out everything that we had go wrong on the podcast itself. So make sure you check us out.
You're wishful thinking, Lepalose.
Dude, today has been particularly difficult that way.
The Spectral guy was here this morning, 10 o'clock. He says, Mr. Blake, I have fixed you right up. You're good to go. And then he leaves, and within 30 minutes of leaving, I'm on TeamSpeak 55% pack of life.
Clearly some issues still happening, and hopefully we can work that out with them in the future for you. But here on the Overwatch Rundown, that's it for us. You can find us on Twitter at OWRundown. I'm at Leplos. He's at Jax_Blake. Usually on Sunday nights. Today was a Monday night, I know, but Sunday nights Twitch /
Why was it
Lepalose,
on Monday,
9 p.m.
Lepalose?
Pacific. We're trying to wait for better internet weather.
Yeah.
From Jax Blake, but then we found out about the squirrels in your line, and we're still on that.
He said squirrels. He said the splitter was looking a little split, so he replaced that. It's still broken.
Still broken. Root cause not found, but we've got cause for hope in the future, and unfortunately, that's not with Blizzard. It's our own predictions here. I've got hope that I've got it right. Jax has hope that he had it right, but instead, all we can agree on is that we're coming up to the music to play us out. Any second.
I never hear the music.
You're not hearing it right now because I'm not. Okay, now it's fine.